Ever waited for a new car and maybe felt that excitement only to hear, well, it's delayed? Turns out the reason might be something you've never even thought about, a hidden crisis involving rare earth magnets. Today we're doing a deep dive into this. It's a complex story, really. Our mission is to unpack why these magnets are so vital. I mean, absolutely critical for cars today. And what's holding up their supply? What are the knock-on effects? Especially for India's car manufacturing, but honestly, this could ripple out globally. We've gathered quite a bit of info articles, research, even some direct notes to get to the bottom of it. And just to show you how serious this is right now, as of June 29th, 2025, picture this. A group of 40, maybe 50 top executives from India's biggest car companies. They're essentially grounded. They got their visas back in May, believe it or not, but they're still waiting for China's Commerce Ministry just to approve meetings to speed up shipments. Someone actually told PTI News Agency, and this really says it all. The situation is bad as not even a single license has been issued to us so far.
Wow.
That single detail just hits you with the immediacy, the severity of this for a whole industry.
It's quite something, isn't it? How fast something seemingly abstract, a supply chain thing with special materials, how fast that becomes a really tangible right now problem. India's auto sector, like you said, is right on the edge. A major disruption. It's not just a small hiccup, it's a potential standstill. And it's affecting things right up to the diplomatic level.
Yeah, it seems totally unprecedented for an industry that's all about precision, just-in-time stuff, having the visas, but no meetings allowed by China. Just stuck.
Yeah.
It leaves the whole industry in this weird kind of limbo, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Like being revved up at the start line, but the race official just won't drop the flag. Production schedules, they're just hanging there in the balance.
So that really brings up the question, why? Why are these specific magnets, these rare earth ones, so critical? Why can their absence just stop everything?
I think a lot of people might jump to EVs, right?
They do, and yes, they're vital for electric vehicles, absolutely, and hybrids too. But here's the kicker. They're also totally critical for regular cars. The internal combustion engine, the ICE vehicles. Oh, really? So it's not just an EV issue then?
Yeah.
That makes the impact much wider. What does that mean for the traditional car market, the ones most people are still buying?
Exactly. Their role cuts across everything. They're in core systems, things like electric power steering, and the propulsion motors in, basically all kinds of modern vehicles. Take away these magnets and fundamental systems just stop working. In pretty much any new car, they're foundational.
Right. Okay. And the root cause seems to point squarely at China, their dominance in the market, and a recent policy change.
That's the core of it. China processes over 90% of the world's rare earth magnets. That kind of control, it makes the situation uniquely difficult. It gives them huge leverage.
90%, wow.
And the immediate bottleneck, it stems directly from this big policy shift. Happened back on April 4th, 2025. That's when China brought in really strict export controls on 7 specific rare earth elements.
Can you give us an idea, like what kind of elements are we talking about, and maybe why they're so important for magnets?
Sure. Elements like samarium, terbium, dysprosium, gadolinium is another one. These are special because they have these really strong magnetic properties and they work well even when things get hot. That makes them perfect for these permanent magnet synchronous motors, PMSMs. Those are the super efficient motors you find increasingly in cars, especially EVs. They give you good power, but are quite compact.
Okay, so high-tech motors need these specific elements.
Right. And the new rules from China are incredibly tough. They demand detailed paperwork, disclosures. They want end-use declarations, proof of what you're using them for, and guarantees. Guarantees they won't be used for military purposes or, crucially, re-exported to the United States.
Okay, so with those tough new rules in China's dominance, where does that leave India? They rely heavily on China, don't they?
They do, and unfortunately, India is, among the worst hit right now. Last fiscal year, they got over 80% of their magnets from China. That was about 540 tons. So this makes them extremely vulnerable to these controls.
80%, that's huge exposure.
It is. And despite the Indian government apparently backing around 30 import applications, what we're hearing is that zero, not a single one, has been cleared by the Chinese authorities yet.
Zero.
Yeah.
That's stark. It really shows how bad their specific situation is.
Absolutely.
So what does this all mean for India's auto sector? It's been growing so fast, especially with EVs. This sounds like it could just slam the brakes on everything, turn growth into gridlock.
It really could. This shortage, it definitely throws a spanner in the works for India's EV ambitions. They've been moving so fast. If this disruption continues, it's not just about delaying a few models. It could genuinely halt assembly lines, entire lines. It could push back important EV launches, derail the whole momentum they've built up. And this is happening at such a critical moment for electrification in India. Their progress is seriously at risk.
And the impact wouldn't just stop at the factory gates.
Yeah.
Right? It would ripple out into the wider economy. It's more than just car numbers.
Exactly right. This whole crisis really shines a light on India's vulnerability, being so reliant on one supplier. If it doesn't get sorted out soon, you could see widespread effects. Jobs, exports. Even just the overall speed of switching to electric vehicles across the country could slow down. The key thing here isn't just, consumers waiting longer for cars. It's how this one tiny component, almost invisible to us, reveals the fragility, the interconnectedness of these global supply chains we thought were so robust.
So, facing this huge challenge, what are they doing? What's the plan to navigate this? I guess it's a mix of immediate action and looking long term.
That's the approach. Short term, it's urgent. Industry leaders are basically pleading with the Indian government. They're urging them to step in diplomatically, at the highest levels possible. This isn't something one company can fix. It needs government-to-government talks to break the deadlock.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And what about the long game? How does India avoid getting into this kind of dependency again? Secure its future supply.
Well, longer term, people are suggesting diversifying, looking at other countries for imports, maybe Vietnam or Australia. And there's also a big push or talk of a push to invest in India's own domestic rare earth processing, building up their own capacity, their own supply chain.
Okay, so building it at home.
Yes, and this is the crucial reality check, setting up that kind of local refining infrastructure. That takes years, decades maybe. It offers absolutely zero immediate relief for the crisis they're facing right now. It's strategic, yes, but for the future, not for this quarter.
Right. That's a tough reality.
Yeah.
This deep dive has really shown how something seemingly obscure, a rare earth magnet, and how a specific policy change in just one country can slam directly into global industries and affect something as tangible, as common as getting a new car.
It really does.
It's just a powerful reminder, isn't it? Our global economy hangs on threads we don't always see.
It truly makes you think about all those hidden connections, those unseen dependencies in our very globalized world. What really stands out is how one resource, strategically controlled, or one policy shift somewhere far away, how that can ripple outwards, affecting big economic trends, sure, but also just everyday life. It's kind of sobering, really, how something so tiny can have such huge effects on the economy, maybe even on our own lives.
It really does. It leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What other critical things are hidden away? Dependencies baked into the products, the services you rely on every single day. It's a powerful thought. Our world is maybe far more connected and perhaps more vulnerable than we often realize.